Hello, FBCA community. I trust that you're doing well, and I wanted to take a moment and share with you some information because I know that recently the new tuition rates came out for the upcoming school year, and you're in that period of looking at what educational option is best for your family for next year, and we're excited to have you continuously enrolled. And although tuition goes up every single year, the last 2 years, there's been a significant increase in tuition, and I know that you're probably asking yourself, I wonder why the tuition has increased so dramatically. So I thought I'd give you some information to give you background on why that has occurred. It was about 2 years ago, the board began conducting a very thorough analysis of its business side. And despite the school's careful use of funds, because the school is always careful to make sure that it's spending wisely and such, but despite their efforts, they recognized that the income that they were receiving from tuition and other sources was not adequate to meet the operating expenses of the organization. And so they felt like long-term for the health of the school, that is not a good thing. So they looked at, for example, in the budget itself, there was $100,000 that was required every single year to be raised through fundraising efforts just to make the expenses of the organization. And so the board said, we really don't want to be in that kind of a position. So last year, through the increase in tuition, they were able to eliminate half of that. And this year, we only required to raise $50,000 to meet the operating expenses. For the next year and the tuition increase, it will allow us to remove all of the fundraising income that we receive through whether it be our turkey trot or our next step breakfast, and we can use all that funding specifically for projects and improvements and that kind of thing. So that was one of the items. The other thing was the board conducted a study to see how we were doing with the compensation for our teachers. And they looked at what are teachers getting paid in the teaching industry, particularly PISD. And so the slide that you'll note on the screen shows on the top line what teachers make in PISD. And then the next line below that's $15,000 below that. And then all the little dots show you what our teachers make plotted out in comparison to what they would make if they were in the public school. Now, we know that we're never going to be able to pay our teachers here what they get paid in the public school. However, the board wasn't satisfied that they were at the level of compensation that they really wanted to be. So, for example, the starting teacher salary for PISD was approximately $57,000 with no experience. Well, when we went to recruit teachers for FBCA, in 2021, we were at about $32,000, and you can see the disparity there. The top of the salary for 30 years in PISD was about $71,000, and here at FBCA, we topped out around $50,000. So when we looked at the compensation for teachers, the board felt like we really need to generate more income so that we can do better by them. And then the school conducted a careful analysis on other departments like our extended day program, the lunch program, the athletics program, and they realized that they were significantly in the red in many of those departments. The lunch program, for example, in 2021, you'll see from the slide, was $23,000 in the red. The extended school day program was $46,000 in the red. When you looked at the tuition discounts that we gave for multiple children, for tuition assistance, and for employees, it came right out at around $785,000. And so the board felt like in order for us to be in a good position long-term, we needed to shore up some of that. And so that's why you saw the increases in what we charge for lunch and what we charge for the extended day program, some of the changes that you've seen in the amount of tuition discount for multiple children and such that we offer. And then the board also began saying, is there room for increase? Because we realized if we were to raise the income significantly above those that are in our community that offer Christian school, that would put us in a bad place as well. So you'll see in the slide up on the screen that we did a comparison of FBCA to Bay Area Christian and FBCA to Lutheran South. And you'll notice in the one column, it shows the difference back in 2021, 2022. And so the board said, wow, there really is room for growth because we feel that we offer a very comparable, excellent education when you look at these other Christian schools. You'll also see that there's a couple other slides that show graphically what FBCA charges grade by grade at all grade levels, and what we charge in the elementary, junior high, and high school, as far as a bar graph illustrates where we're at in that area. So the board felt like there's room for an increase, significant increase, both to make our operating expenses and to pay our teachers better. And it's very important, I think, that all of our parents realize, because many of you know this, but there are many people that don't understand, that our school does not receive any income from federal sources, county taxes, from local sources. Everything that we do is funded through our tuition and through the generous gifts of people like you. So for example, when we needed a bus for our school, we had to rely upon the fundraising income that we had received from the Turkey Trot and from the Next Step Breakfast. So we are committed to handling the money in the best possible fashion that we can. We do have an annual audit that's conducted by a CPA. You'll see from that other slide, someone outside of the organization, not connected to us, and they look at all of our practices and our financial statements. We do that every year, and we have always got a clean bill of health, so to speak, there. And we want you to know that we're very aware that families here are making big sacrifices to put their kids in FBCA, and we deeply appreciate that. And so the board is being as sensitive as they can to weigh, on the one hand, our institutional needs versus what our families can afford. And we're going to be very sensitive to that in the future as we go forward when we look at what we can charge for tuition. Thank you for listening to this video.